Esther McVey.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I appreciate this has been a humiliation for the Chancellor and her credibility is intact.
No wonder she's not here today.
No wonder she's not here today to announce her own U-turn.
The government has got
But now that she and the government has got a taste for climb down, can I urge them through the Minister who unfortunately drew the short straw today to reverse the equally ridiculous National Insurance Contribution rise, which is destroying jobs, and the inheritance tax changes, which is destroying farms and family businesses.
Before we continue, do us a little favour by subscribing to the channel, because over 98% of you watching haven't subscribed. It costs you nothing, not even a penny to join this channel. Have you subscribed? Thanks so much.
Minister to stand up and thank the honourable member.
It's usual for a minister to stand up and thank the honourable member for their question, but I actually mean it in this case, because you completely proved my point that this is a party opposite that has learnt no lessons whatsoever, that thinks it can come to this chamber, call for more spending, oppose every tax rise, and expect to ever be taken seriously again. They will not, particularly when they're digging their own grave. In terms of their party politics,
properly blew up. I mean, detonated, combusted, went nuclear. Pick any word, it happened. You ever watch a politician try to pretend everything's fine while the entire chamber is basically yelling, "No, mate, explain yourself"? Because that's exactly what happened when Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, who's been selling herself as iron discipline, no wobble, no panic, ended up sprinting out the chamber like she just set off a fire alarm by accident. And why? Because the winter fuel U-turn so chaotic, so embarrassing, so politically messy, even her own backbenchers were looking at her like, "You all right? Love.
So chaotic.
Blink twice.
So politically messy.
If you need rescuing.
Even her own backbenchers.
This wasn't just a wobble.
We're looking at her like,
this wasn't
you
just
were right,
a whoops,
love.
Miscalculated.
Blink twice if you need rescuing.
This was a full-on cold weather catastrophe for Labour.
This
and
wasn't
it
just a whoops
because
miscounted.
MPs,
this was
especially the seasoned no-nonsense ones, smelled blood the second Reeves didn't show up to defend her own decision. Instead, she sent a poor Treasury Minister, a bloke who looked like he'd been dragged out of a lunch break, to take incoming fire on her behalf. You could practically hear the collective groan. Oh, she's not coming. Oh, no, she's bottled it. And that's when the chamber went off, like a pub on Derby Day. It started with a Conservative MP, a woman known for having the subtlety of a brick through a window, standing up, clearing her throat and basically saying, "This is humiliating for her, for the government, for the whole idea that Labour even knows what it's doing." And basically saying, she didn't even say it with venom. She said it like she was disappointed, like Reeves was a kid who'd promised to revise for an exam, swore blind she'd do it, and then showed up having revised the wrong subject. The minister, bless him, tried to stay calm, tried to give the official line, tried to pretend this wasn't a political earthquake, but the grin, the twitch, the way his voice cracked slightly, he knew. Everyone knew. This wasn't just a U-turn. This was Labour's biggest oops moment since they took power. And look, to keep it fully accurate and fair, the winter fuel payments issue wasn't some scandal or conspiracy. No one had bad intentions. It was a budgeting decision under pressure.
Fully accurate,
totally legitimate
the winter
debate,
fuel payments issue
but the way it was
wasn't
handled,
some scandal or conspiracy.
It was like watching someone juggle knives with oven gloves on.
It was a budgeting decision.
Here's the mood in Parliament this week. Freezing cold weather, energy bills climbing again, pensioners anxious, families stressed.
With oven gloves on.
And into that pressure cooker, Reeves announces a shift, then unshifts it, then refuses to defend it publicly. It was political gold for every opposition MP with a microphone, and trust me, they all smelled the opportunity like foxes outside a chicken coop. The first wave of attack,
it was political gold for
all
every
about
opposition
credibility.
MP with a
If
And
she
trust
can
me,
U-turn this
they
easily,
outsmelled
how
the
do we trust
opportunity
anything
like
she
foxes
says?
outside a chicken coop.
If she's tough
The
on
first
fiscal
wave of
rules,
attacks,
why did she crumble the
all about
second the public
credibility.
pushed back?
If she can
believes
U-turn
in her
this
own
easily,
plan,
how do
why
we
didn't she
trust
show up
anything
to
she
defend
says?
it? And honestly,
If she's tough on
whether
fiscal
you love
rules,
Labour or
why did
hate
she
Labour,
crumble Fisk
those
and
questions
the public
landed
push back?
hard.
If
Then
she
the
believes in
emotional
her own
piece
plan,
hit.
why
MPs
didn't she
stood up
show up to defend
referencing
it?
elderly
And
constituents,
honestly,
people
whether you
choosing
love Labour
between
or hate
heating
Labour,
and food.
those questions
One
landed
MP
hard.
talked about a veteran with
Then the
arthritis
emotional
who
piece hit.
burst into tears
MP
after
stood up
hearing the original
referencing
policy.
elderly
Another
constituents,
mentioned a grandmother
people
who'd
choosing
been
between
rationing
heating
gas
and food.
usage. Like it
One
was the
MP talked about a
1970s
veteran
again.
with
You could
arthritis
feel the room
burst into tears
tighten.
after
These
hearing the
weren't
original
political
policy.
points. These were
Another
real people
mentioned our
struggling.
grandmother
And
who'd been
Reeves'
rationing
absence made it
Gasouzag
feel like the
like it was
government
the
was ducking
1970s
accountability at the very
could
moment
feel the
people
room
needed
tighten.
reassurance.
These
Then
weren't
came the political
points.
fallout. Oh
These
my
were
days,
real
this is
people
where it got
struggling.
spicy.
And Reeves'
Clips started
absence made it feel
circulating
like the
online
government
within
was
minutes.
ducking accountability
Rachel Reeves
at the
flees
very moment
Commons.
people needed reassurance.
Chancellor missing in action.
Then came the
Labour
political
makes
fallout.
biggest U-turn yet.
Oh my days.
TikTok was on it.
This is where it got
X
spicy.
was on it.
Clips
Even
started
Facebook
circulating
aunties were
online
forwarding it
within
faster than a
Rachel
Christmas meme.
Reeves flees
Every MP in the
Commons.
chamber that day
Missing in
knew the
action.
optics were horrific.
Labour makes
Every
biggest
journalist
U-turn
knew
yet.
this was headline
TikTok
gold.
was unit.
And then, as
X
if
was on
Labour
it.
weren't already
Even
sweating,
Facebook anti-eyes
Reform
were
MPs
forwarding
jumped
it
in
faster
swinging
than a
like they'd
Christmas
been
meme.
practicing in the mirror.
Every MP
Their
in the
attack,
chamber that
brutal,
day knew the optics
sharp,
were horrific.
popcorn worthy.
Every
If
journalist
the Chancellor
knew this
can't
was
face the music,
and
who's
then,
actually
as
running
if
the
Labour were in
Treasury?
Talleyrati sweating,
If she can't
Reform
hold her nerve
MPs
on this, how
jumped
will
and
she
swinging
handle a
like they've been
recession?
practicing in the mirror.
If even winter
Their
fuel
attack,
payments are too
brutal,
complicated for
sharp,
Labour to manage, what
popcorn-worthy.
hope is there for anything
If the
bigger?
Chancellor can't face the
The
music,
minister tried to
who's
clap
actually
back
running
with the
Treasury?
classic Labour line.
If she
You lot
can't
don't
hold her nerve
understand
on this,
economics,
how
you
will
don't
she handle
understand
the
budgets, you
If
don't
even winter
understand that
fuel
we
payments
inherited
are
a
too
mess.
complicated
But
for
every
Labour
time
to
he got
manage,
going, someone
what hope is
shouted
there
over
for
him.
anything bigger?
Then why did
The minister
she
tried
run?
to
Why
clap
didn't
back
she
with the classic
answer?
Labour
Why's
line.
she hiding?
You lot don't
It was
understand
chaos.
economics,
Pure
and you
British
don't understand
parliamentary,
budgets.
glorious chaos.
You don't understand
The Speaker was standing
that we
there
inherited
begging the
a
room
mess.
to calm down,
But every time
while
got
Reeves
going,
was probably
someone
halfway
shouted
across
over him.
Westminster by that
Then why
point,
did she
speed
run?
walking through
Why didn't
corridors
she-
like a mum
Why
late for
is
the
she
school
hiding?
run. And
It was
just when
chaos.
Labour thought
Pure
it couldn't
British,
get worse,
parliamentary,
it did.
Gloria shows.
Because the
Speaker
international
was
media
standing
caught the
there,
scent.
begging the
BBC
room to
World,
calm
Sky
down while
Australia,
was
Bloomberg,
probably halfway across
Politico, EU.
Westminster by that point.
Suddenly the story wasn't
Speed
just
walking through
Chancellor
corridors like a
U-turns.
mum, late
It was
for the school
UK
run.
Chancellor
Then
ducks
just when Labour
Parliament
thought it
on
couldn't get
crucial
worse,
cost of living
It
policy.
did because the
You
international
could
media
practically
caught
hear the collective
scent.
cringe
BBC
from Whitehall.
World, Sky
Remember,
Australia,
markets watch
Bloomberg,
this stuff,
Politico.
international investors watch
EU
this
suddenly,
stuff.
the story
Stability
wasn't
is
just
the whole
Chancellor.
brand Reeves
It
has
was
tried to
UK
build.
Chancellor Duck's Parliament
And one
on
messy
crucial
afternoon
cost
in the
of
Commons
thriving
made her
policy.
look like she
You could
panicked at the
practically
first
hear
sign
the
of bad
collective
weather.
cringe from it.
Literally.
Remember,
And then came the
markets watch
climax.
this stuff.
The moment that will be
International
replayed
investors watch
online
this
for
stuff.
weeks. The
Stability
minister,
is the whole
looking
brand
like
Reeves
he'd
has
aged
tried
10
to build.
years in one question
And one messy
session,
afternoon
snapped
in
back
the
at
Commons
MPs, saying
made her look
something
like she
like,
panicked
this
at the
shows your
first
party
sign
has
of bad
learned
weather,
nothing, calls
literally.
for spending,
And then
opposes
committee
tax
climax,
rises, never
the
credible.
moment that will bear played
But the
online
chamber
for
wasn't
weeks.
having it. Laughter,
The minister,
groans,
looking like he'd
shouts.
aged 10 years in one
Even
question
some
session,
Labour MPs
snapped
buried their
back at the map
faces
saying
in their
something
hands.
like, this shows
Then one
your party
MP, a
has learnt
veteran of
nothing.
Westminster Wars,
Calls for
stood up
spending,
and asked the
opposes
killer
tax
line.
rises.
If the
Never
Chancellor
credible.
won't defend her
But the
own
chamber
policy,
wasn't
why
having
should
it.
the British people
Laughter,
believe she has
groans,
confidence in it
shouts.
at all?
Even some
The whole
Labour
room
MPs
froze.
buried their faces
It was the
in their
parliamentary
hands.
equivalent of
Then one
dropping a
MP,
pint
a
in a
veteran of
silent
Westminster
pub.
Wars, stood up
The minister
and asked
mumbled
Thekla
something,
line,
but the moment
if the
was
Chancellor
gone.
won't defend her
The
own
damage
policy,
was done.
why should the British people
And somewhere
believe she has
outside,
confidence
Reeves
in
was
it at all?
probably thinking,
The whole
this
room.
week was meant to be
It was the
quiet. How the hell did did it go so wrong?
Dropping a pint
Look,
in
let's be
Azaland
balanced.
The
U-turns
minister
happen.
mumbled something,
Every
but the
government makes
moment
them,
was
but
gone.
running from the
Fee
chamber,
damage was done,
leaving your
and
minister
somewhere
alone in
outside,
front of the firing
Reeves was
squad,
probably thinking
that's
this week
political
was
meat
meant to be
for the
quiet.
wolves.
How the hell
and Reeves,
did I go
usually
so wrong?
composed, so
Look,
calculating, so I know what I'm doing,
U-turns
ended
happen.
up looking
Every
rattled,
government
overwhelmed,
makes them,
and worst of all,
but running from the
unsure
chamber,
of her own plan.
leaving your minister
and here's
alone
the truth.
in front of a firing
Politicians
squad.
aren't robots.
That's political meat for
Mistakes happen.
the wolves.
Stress happens.
And Reeves,
Sometimes
usually so
they have to
composed,
leave for
so
scheduling
calculating,
reasons, but
so
the
I know
optics...
what he am doing.
The optics were
Ended up looking
dreadful, and
rattled,
politics is
overwhelmed,
90%
and worst
optics.
of all,
So where does this
unsure
leave
of her
Labour
own plan?
with bruises?
And here's the
Definitely.
truth.
With the
Politicians
credibility
aren't
then,
robots.
probably,
Mistakes
with
happen.
voters
Stress
wondering
happens.
if the grown-ups
Sometimes
in the
they
room
have
are
to
actually,
leave for rolling reasons.
well, grown-ups.
But the optics
That's the
were
risk.
dreadful.
Meanwhile,
And politics
opposition
is 90%
MPs,
optics.
Tories,
So
Reform,
where Dosters
even the
leave
Lib
Labour
Dems
with
are
bruises.
sharpening their
Definitely.
knives because winter
With
isn't
the
over yet.
credibility.
And
Dem
another
probably,
energy announcement
with
is
voters
coming in
wondering if
days.
their
If
grown-ups
Labour
in the
messes
room
that one
are
up,
actually
oh boy,
well-grown.
Parliament will
Dash
be
ups,
louder than a
that's the risk.
Saturday night chicken shop
Meanwhile,
queue. And the final
oppositions,
twist?
Tories,
Reeves is
Reform,
scheduled to speak
even the
again
Lib
next
Dems are
week. If she
sharpening their
cancels
knives
even
because
once,
winter isn't over
the
yet.
headlines will write
An
themselves.
antithronology
Now here's where I
announcement is
leave it
coming
to you,
in days.
because this
If
story
Labour
is
messes that
far
one up,
from over.
oh boy,
Was this just
Parliament
a blip,
will be louder
a
than
bad
a
day,
Saturday
a
night chicken
scheduling
shop
clash
queue.
blown out of
And the
proportion,
final twist,
or is it a
Reeves
warning
is scheduled
sign that
to speak
Labour's
again next
iron
week.
discipline branding
If she
might
cancels
melt the
even
second
once,
public
the
pressure
headlines
heats
will
up?
write.
Is
Now,
Reeves
here's where I
still the
leave it to you,
unshakable
because this
economic
story is
heavyweight
far
Labour
from over.
promised, or is
Was
the
this just a
shine
blip,
starting to
a
crack
bad day,
already?
a scheduling
And most
clash
importantly,
blown out
do
of
you think
proportion?
MPs were
Or
right
is it
to
a warning
erupt
sign
the way
that
they
Labour's
did,
iron
or was
discipline
it
branding
political
might
over
melt
the top
second public
theatre?
pressure
Let me know
heats
in the
up?
comments.
Is Reeves
Smash the
still
like
the
button if you
unshackably
want
iconic
deeper
heavyweight
breakdowns
Labour
of these
promised
parliamentary
The
meltdowns, and
shine's
hit
starting to
subscribe
crack
if you
already.
want the real,
And most
unfiltered
importantly,
political
do you
chaos
think maps were
straight
right
to
to
your
erupt
feed.
the way they did?
No spin,
Or was it
no
political
fluff, just
over
the
the top
truth
theatre?
wrapped in a bit of cheeky
Let me know
British
in the
banter.
comments.
The like
Smash
button
the
if you
like
want
button
deeper
if you want deeper
breakdowns of
breakdowns
these parliamentary meltdowns,
moments.
and hit
And
subscribe
subscribe
if you want
if
the
you want
real, unfiltered political
straight
chaos
to your feed.
straight to
No
your
spin,
feed.
no fluke.
No spin,
Just the
no
truth
fluff,
wrapped
just
in a
the
bit of
truth wrapped in a
cheeky
bit
British
of cheeky
banter.
British banter.